Friends from the Road. You are now listening to the Friends from the Road podcast.
Gaining new friends along the journey. Sharing stories that inspire, encourage, and motivate.
Friends from the Road podcast. Now here's your host, Daniel Hurd.
Welcome everyone, friends, strangers, all are welcome here on Friends from the Road. Dan is out with severe calf cramps. He's asked me to be the guest host. So I'm your guest host, and I'm Chris. So our special guest today really needs no introduction, but his heart, generous nature, and love for others certainly bears repeating. He's listened more than he's spoken because he knows people need to be heard. He's given his time and had it taken by others, all with a smile because he knows someone has to show up and care. Please welcome my very good friend, Daniel Hurd. Dan, welcome to the podcast, my friend. How are your calves doing?
Man, Chris, they're sore, bro, but they're getting better. I've had a few days off. But I got to say, man, that introduction brought a little bit of tears to my eyes, so thank you. I really appreciate that introduction.
Man, it's easy to introduce you, man, because that's who you are. So thanks for making it easy, man. Thank you.
I'm glad to. You know, as you said, I really do. I always try to find a way to make people smile, and it makes me smile, and just try to be there for people and encourage other people to be there. So it's my life mission, I feel like.
Well, hey, man, you're always focusing on other people. I guess it's good that I'm getting the chance to interview you on your podcast, so your listeners get a chance to, hear your side, just you talking instead of asking questions of friends that you meet on the road.
Yeah, definitely. I also thought, the last update I did on my own, and, I as much as I can talk, I feel like I can have a better conversation with somebody else asking me the question. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, man, how's your day treating you?
Man, it's not bad. It's early still. It's just after 8:30 where I'm at here in the San Diego area.
Okay.
More directly, the Chula Vista area. It's a cool morning. We got an overcast, and I'm in a HOA neighborhood, so it's really quiet right now. Most of the people, I think, have gone to work or are just hanging out. So it's pretty quiet where I'm at. I'm sitting on the side of the road, actually, outside my friend's house. So it felt like it was really fitting, friends from the road,
right?
Being on the side of the road.
So you got big plans, man? Visiting friends? Any big group rides or places you're going to go and visit while you're in the area?
Yeah, man. So, nothing too serious. It's kind of happening as it goes. But as you know, and hopefully some of the listeners know already, is I was stationed here when I was in the military. So San Diego is my home port when I was here. And I spent, almost 5 years in this area. So got a lot of people that I'm hoping to see, and I've been fortunate to see some of them already. I'm hoping to bounce around to different houses and see some of them. And then also I'm trying to get more riding in as well once my legs feel a little bit better. So I'm hoping to take a ride actually on Wednesday to go see Athletic Brewing, which is one of my ambassadors.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping to be able to go check them out and see some of the other people that have been following my journey along the way.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Hey, so we talked the other day, man, and you brought up that today is actually the 10-month anniversary of the accident.
Yeah.
With that, man, you know how I am. I'm a big proponent of looking back, right? Looking back through one's life and gaining understanding, and being able to kind of, project differences in myself then and now. What do you see, man, that you've noticed or felt that has changed now that you've been back out on the road, as far as improvements or recovery or things that are getting back to normal?
Well, one big improvement that I've definitely noticed is that I'm getting stronger. Physically, my winter layer, I guess I'll call it, that I gained while I was with you is pretty much gone. So physically, I'm lighter. I've lost like 40 pounds, man. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy that I put on that much weight that fast, but I also know I was eating a lot and, kind of just eating my sorrows away in a sense.
Well, it was winter. It's winter, man.
It was winter too, so it was a little bit different. And I physically couldn't move for, it was like almost 3 months, really.
Yeah.
So, from that perspective, I've come a huge distance from where I was. I can bend my legs. They still got a lot of work to go, and but they're making improvements every day, and I'm thankful for that. A huge thing that I've noticed is my memory and the way my brain is functioning. For anybody that's followed the podcast from the beginning, even through Movement Mondays, you can hear a difference just in the way that I really do the whole podcast. As you know, Movement Mondays, I had to pretty much write the whole script out because I literally couldn't remember any of the things I wanted to say unless I had it written out.
Right.
And I've come a long way from that. I do bullet points now, and then there's even times where, depending on the conversations, I don't even have to do anything. It's kind of like second nature in a sense now. And I'm still not perfect. I still lose my train of thought sometimes and have to kind of remember what we were talking about. But every day I've seen progress, and especially in the last couple of months, I'm not who I was yet, but I'm the closest I've been to feeling like Dan in a long time. So,
hell yeah, man.
But it takes a lot of work. It's not just sitting here waiting for it to be back to Dan. And I think that's a lot of people's conception or, understanding is like, oh, I just have to sit here until I'm better, until I'm who I was. And it doesn't work like that. We have to put in work. We have to put in training. Just like my physical fitness that I'm doing to get my legs back into shape and my body, I have to do that with my mind. And something that I really appreciated was something that you told me to do. And that was do like mock interviews while I was on the road if I didn't have an opportunity to do one with somebody.
Yeah.
And, I've been doing that a lot. And I feel like, especially since getting on the road and doing more directly the Friends from the Road podcast, from the first one to the most recent one, I really do feel like it's becoming sharper. I've become more sharp to be able to ask questions more on spot. It's not that delayed questioning and stuff like that. So really doing those exercises have really helped with my brain functioning. So I've been thankful for that, Chris.
Heck yeah, man. No, the thing is, it's kind of that old adage where it's like you build your own kind of dialogue, right? It's like you meet somebody. What do you say when you meet somebody? You kind of rehearse that, right? It's like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've rehearsed it enough that it's something that you do. And it's really the same thing as an interviewer, right? But by practicing that, you can help to kind of connect different pathways again. And just kind of regenerate your ability to think clearly. So,
no, exactly, and that's what I really liked about what I doing these little exercises while I'm on the road is I don't know everybody's story like to the T, and especially the people that I meet real quick, but I make this dialogue in my head where it'd be like it's actually their story, even if it's not, and it kind of gives me those points where. I'm not just doing it from the questioning side of you. I answer the question, so I'm kind of getting an idea what to expect when somebody answers the question that I'm asking. So it kind of gives me the ability to really hone in on my questioning ability, and I really enjoy it. So
right.
I think,
Dan, hey, you were talking about the mental aspect, like you've got the physical part, right? You're pedaling that sweet bike of yours, but the mental game, something we always have to work on. What other things out there Because I know that like the restart was kind of rough, right?
Yeah, man.
What other mental things are you working on that you feel are kind of holding you back a little bit?
Well, one thing that I definitely, a lot of people were surprised how fast I got back on the road. And I tell people I had to get back on the road for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons was, being 44 states in, I feel like it would have haunted me if I didn't finish it to get to the other 4. But ultimately, the biggest reason that I needed to do it sooner than later was I started developing this fear of cars. And it's, it's an understandable fear, especially after what I went through.
Yeah.
So when I got back on the road, I knew that I was going to deal with that. I didn't anticipate it being so severe with it causing me anxiety throughout the whole morning. Like, it'd be a stress just to get started. And then, like, making it through the day, I'd be stressed out because, I'm not to the finish yet. The only relief that I would get from, like, my anxiety for any period of time was literally when I got to camp. And I'd set up and I'd get everything done for the day that I had just finished. And then I'd start, like, not even consciously doing it, but, like, I'd start thinking about the next day and where I have to be and how far I got to go and what the road conditions are. And then the anxiety would start again. So it's been a challenge for that. I feel like I've definitely improved. One thing that I realized is it's not per se being on the road that bothers me as much. It's being on the road alone. When I got hit, I was by myself.
Yeah.
And something that really helped me realize that and kind of helped make it so that I could start moving forward a little bit from it is when I had the opportunity to ride with a bunch of people going into San Francisco. And it was really nice because I knew there were people behind me, even if we weren't, like, immediately together. There were people behind me, there were people in front of me. So in a sense, even though I may have been physically in sight by myself, I knew I wasn't alone. And that gave me the realization that, I did this for over 2.5 years before I got physically hurt in an accident. And, I had 5 accidents total, but that when people see that, when they hear that number, that's a lot. It is. But I have to think about those thousands, hundreds of thousands of cars that have gone by me on this entire journey. And it only happened a few times in that sense. So I just keep reminding myself now that it's, just because it happened then, it doesn't mean it's going to happen every day. It's still a challenge, but, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is, I'm nervously looking forward to is going back to Arizona and redeeming that state so I don't have a fear of that state.
Right. What about your bike, man? Your bike and your bags and your new setup, has that been helping any as far as, you know what I mean? I talk about your kit, right? Because it's kind of the same way. It's like, when you deploy, if you trained a certain way, you got your equipment set up, you feel confident in that, right? And it kind of helps alleviate some of the anxiety of going forward. Do you feel the same way about your setup?
The setup is the way I have it set up on this bike, I think is the best I can have it for the situation I'm in. Mm-hmm. I think the equipment that I have right now is amazing. The only thing that I am doing different in a sense is instead of having a camper, I have a tent, which, Chris, I got to tell you, man, it's taking 15 to 30 seconds to set up the camper is a lot better than my 15 to maybe 30 minutes to set up and break down my tent. So, in that aspect, I miss that. But, the new bike is amazing because it gives me, something that really sticks out in it is the tires and the beefiness of it.
Yeah.
So it's got bigger wheels, it's got wider tires, it's got a bigger fork, it's a bigger frame.
And this is the Jones.
Yeah, this is the Jones bicycle, and it's a beast. And the reason why I love it so much is, and it helps relieve some of my anxiety that I'm dealing with as well, is it gives me the ability to go off-roading a little bit more. Whereas the previous bike with the trailer, I didn't have that option to go and, be off-road because it was just too heavy. I had more restriction contact points, and it was difficult. So
right.
I
could imagine even going, if you had, hey, I have to go on this highway. I really want to go on this unimproved road over here. It's not dirt, it's pavement, but it's, it's unkept, right? But it runs parallel to it, and it'd be perfect. But with the bigger tires, you can handle that. But on the skinnier ones, it'd be an issue. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so what it does is, a lot of people look at it when I'm on the road and they're like, how can that be better on the roads? When I have it fully inflated, I'm on a narrow portion of that tire, but when I get off road, I can deflate it and give it so I can go off that trail or gravel road. Right. So yeah, those times where I gotta be on the pavement, it gives me a peace of mind that I know after I get through this section that there's going to be a side road that I can get on. So I try to kind of keep that in my mind that those options are there, and I'm thankful for those options. So it's what else? The bike itself is a really awesome thing because it gets me to have conversations with people, even if they're not wanting to talk about suicide or any of that stuff. They just are interested in the magnitude of the bicycle, and then the sign that I carry, which is a new version of the one I had always, which was to make a stranger smile. Mm-hmm. That's always a conversation starter, especially with this one. It's a flatter board, so people always ask me if it's causing wind resistance and everything, and it doesn't, not really, because of all the bags I have. So, right. But it's a good way to get a conversation going and chatting. And then I also, the biggest thing that I've noticed is, just being able to have more conversations with people. Whereas as the last bike, I had conversations with a lot of people, and especially with the camper. Right. The camper was an attention, looking for attention. So, right. It's a similar thing, but a lot of times I struggle because, with the camper, that bike was 350 pounds, and I was doing, 30 to 50 miles a day on average, and that's what I'm doing now. So it's a struggle to kind of compare myself to where I was, but if I look at where I started this restart compared to where I am now, I'm way better than I was, and I'm looking forward to continuing to improve.
Heck yeah, man. Dan, I'm glad that you've got some tools, man, to help you mitigate some of your anxiety. There's a lot of things in my life that that give me anxiety, and it's good to have something good to put in front of yourself to kind of help you sort through it, right? Kind of get yourself through it to the other side. And I'm glad you've got some things out there, man, and some people, right? You got some great people.
Yeah, bro, you're one of them, so I appreciate that. And yeah. and the other thing is, like, having this podcast on the road, it's something that you had tried to get me to do for a long time, and mm-hmm. I'm thankful that I finally got to, have the time to do it while I was laid up, and just continue to do it because it's given me another way to connect with people. So without you, it wouldn't have happened. So I appreciate that.
Hey, not a problem, man. Well, hey, Dan, let's take a quick break, man, and we'll come back on and we'll talk about some of the route. We'll talk about the podcast, and then we'll talk about things coming ahead. What do you think?
Sounds good, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. Now that you're listening to the podcast, take a moment on the service or the app that you're listening to this episode on and subscribe and comment. If you've already subscribed, thank you. Now, please add a comment. This helps the podcast in searches and informs others about what to expect from the show. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of the episode. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. Dan, welcome back after the little break. Always good to get Nice little mid-reel going.
Oh, yeah.
So, Dan, you started back up there in Seattle May 27th, so been out there, 3 months. What is the most memorable event, group of people, person, that you've encountered so far?
Man, I gotta go through the list real quick. Because, dude, there's been really crazy places and awesome places and people. Let's see. We go kind of list through it real quick. Olympic Peninsula was awesome, but I stayed with a really cool community in Oregon, Washington. Hood River Bend was awesome. I got to do some really cool stuff there. We'll talk about at some point. I would have to go with Big Sur, man. I went
Big Sur.
and I did an episode, actually, the episode that came out previously, I believe, was with Big Sur and a bunch of cyclists that I had met. And getting to Big Sur, I was struggling, man. It was a lot of climbing. It was a tough day for me. The next morning, everybody got up. They were leaving, and they were going to go a lot further than I planned, but I was just hoping to get to one of the camps that was close by. And so it was supposed to be an easy day for me, and man, I was struggling. Like, I was bonked within my first 5 miles of the day, and
Ooh.
it was rough. And I was supposed to be I think it was 40 miles that day. So I just kept pushing through. I kept taking lots of breaks, and it got to a point where it was 25 miles in. I had done that in 5 or 6 hours. It was a long process to get that. Ooh. And I stopped at this gas station restaurant. You know how they are in those little communities. Everything's in one building. So I'm outside. I'm looking for different places where I can just set up camp, because I don't think I'm making it to camp tonight. And this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, can I get a picture of your bike?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And she goes to the front of my bike, man, and she sees my sign, the Make Strangers Smile. And she goes, "Oh my God, I've seen this sign before."
Oh, snap.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, if they've seen that sign and they don't know it just because of a bicycle, it's because they saw it with a camper."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So immediately I was like, "Did you see this with a camper?" And she goes, "Oh my God, I did, in Moab, Utah." And immediately when she said that, I recognized her. The click happened. And I met her at the hostel in Moab. She was there on a weekend or a trip doing some mountain biking. And it's just weird that I happened to run across her on the coast of California, just outside of Big Sur, I suppose. And so we started chatting, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm staying at this campground down the road. It's 14 more miles." I'm like, "Yeah, I was supposed to get there, but I don't think I'm gonna." And we started talking, and she had just so much energy about her that I feel like she just transferred me some energy. And she's like, "Well, I'm gonna get going. Hopefully I'll see you there."
Yeah.
And she laughed. And I was like, "All right, I got 5 miles to the campground if I want to stop. I'm going to get there and I'll see how I feel." And I got on the road, man, and I got that 5 miles to the campground that I was going to try to stay at. And this energy that I had gotten from her, I think, really helped. And then as soon as I decided I was going to keep going, I started climbing this hill again, and there's these people on the side of the road just cheering me on, which gave me another boost. And it was great, dude. It was so amazing that I had this boost of energy that I didn't have my entire day. And I ended up catching up to this girl that was ahead of me. She left a couple minutes before me. It took me about 10 miles, but I caught up to her before we got to the campground. And it was just really cool, to catch up to her, to hang out with her, and just get that energy I needed to keep going. And, as simple as her just coming up to take a photo of me and having a simple conversation did that for me. And so that's,
well, Dan, how do you feel? How do you feel now that you know how other people feel when you do things for them?
It makes me want to do it more, man. It really does.
Yeah.
just thinking about it right now, you probably heard my voice change a little bit.
Yeah.
It brings me so much joy and happy tears, I guess, because I'm getting emotional right now. But it's all because it's good stuff.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like I was saying, you've given other people that energy. What you're describing, man, with you being out there, people hearing your story, people being a part of it, you infuse them with that kind of energy. The energy for them to keep going, for them to face their fears and go out there and conquer things. So, man, you're doing that to other people. I'm glad you got a taste of it, my friend. I'm glad you got a taste.
Yeah, it was a good taste, and I've been very fortunate through this whole journey to get other tastes of it as well. And it's really made me the person I am today is through the ups and downs and the headwinds and the tailwinds and the accidents and, accidents with cars, accidents by myself, whatever it is. It's really developed me into this person I am now. And if myself 4 or 5 years ago saw me who I was today, I don't think they would recognize me. They wouldn't even know it's Dan.
That's good, man.
It's amazing, and I'm so grateful for it.
So, you're on the West Coast, man, and I've told you before, and I think I said it on the show, but I love that coastline, right? I love California, Oregon, Washington, just driving that. What place have you found, man, that you've come across? You've just been moved to the point where you thought to yourself, I'm just going to quit right here. I'm going to drop everything. I'm going to clear a little ground. Maybe I'm going to put up a yurt, and I'm going to live right here. This is my place. Have you discovered one like that?
Man, I did on the West Coast. Before I got here, I was thinking like I love Washington and Oregon. Come to find out, I do love them. I just don't like the actual coast as much because of the humidity. It hurts my knees and my body now compared to what it used to.
Yeah.
But man, I fell in love with Bend.
Bend, Oregon.
Bend, Oregon. Yeah. It's drier. My body felt efficient. I didn't have I had aches and pains, but they weren't like they were in the humidity. And man, I got to do some really awesome stuff. I got to meet some really great people. I could see myself living in that type of environment, and it's even better because it's reaffirming that that's the type of environment that I actually do want to live in.
Right.
That desert, high desert climate, and so it really was awesome. And even there, while I was there, I got to do some really awesome stuff. Mount Hood's there, which I did a really awesome episode on Nick Larson, if you had a chance to check that out.
Overcoming Tragedy.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, he, Mount Hood is really close to Bend, and it's a glacier on top of the mountain, so there's always ice, snow kind of thing on it.
Yeah,
and so it definitely amazing stuff there. I checked it out on one of my social media posts. It was the end of May, the end of June, and there was still snow. It was snowing on me when I was up there.
Wow.
So it was nuts. And so I was talking to him, and hanging out with him was awesome because I got to check out his tiny house, which kind of was something that I've also looked into doing as well. And then he took me on this trip, and we went and did downhill mountain biking. It was my first experience of that as like true downhill mountain biking.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it, man. I really did. And it's just so awesome being there in Bend because you get that dry climate, but you get to go mountain biking, you can go snowboarding, hiking, skiing, literally in the range that you're in. So
yeah.
The only downfall to it, and the only reason I won't officially actually live there, man, is getting to Bend. I had to go through a fire area. I had to detour my route because originally I was going to go south of Bend towards like Glacier and into California that direction, but there were fires that way. So as much as I love Bend, with my asthma and everything, I got to be careful with that smoke and stuff. So
that part of the country, man, is going to be it's going to be tough for quite a while. It's going to be tough.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
It will be, and unfortunately, even the smoke my mom's in New Hampshire, and she's been getting the smoke from, well, probably not this week, but recently she did get some from the California and West Coast fires. So it's crazy how far this smoke and stuff is actually going nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey man, you were talking about the podcast. You've got over 30 episodes, like what, 33, something like that?
Man, this is number 35 we're doing right now.
35th episode. Hell yeah, it's a good number. And like you said, man, you've gotten better, and I've even commented on this, that you've gotten better at your interviewing skills. As you've gotten kind of healed, right? Kind of healed your brain and got back into the groove of just having conversations with people, which that's what you do, right? Before the accident, that's what you did. So it's good to see you getting back in that, man. In the podcast process, just kind of taking a deeper thought of it. What have you learned, man, about like people, yourself, situations, things like that? What have you learned through podcasting, through your podcast?
Man, well, before I can even answer that, I got to go back to when I decided I was going to do a podcast on the road, and getting through figuring out the equipment, and then sitting there with you and being like, who am I going to interview? Like, who's going to have an interesting enough story to share with other people? And that was a real concern for me at the beginning, because I wasn't sure who I was going to be able to talk to. And, something I realized really quickly in doing these episodes, a lot of people look at what I'm doing as insane or unimaginably unachievable, even though I'm achieving it. They just can't see them achieving it on their own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I, talking to people every day and having more of a journalistic mindset, I guess. I'm picking up on things that I wouldn't have picked up on before. And something that I've realized is by doing these interviews with people that are doing day trips or weekend trips, or maybe even up to 3-month trips, they're doing it and they're sharing their experiences. But it's the idea that I can talk to anybody, and we all, as human beings, can be on this podcast. Even someone that's maybe not doing a trip right now, maybe they did a trip 50 years ago, whatever. We all have a story to share, and we all have something in our lives that's inspiring, encouraging, or motivating. And that's why I love it, is because, I'll talk to people and I'll be like, man, you have an amazing story to share. And they'll be like, oh, I don't think so. I'm like, well, I think it's amazing. And if I think it's amazing, there's at least another person out there that will also think it's amazing. Yeah. And maybe find motivation and encouragement from it. I did an episode with a father-daughter that was on a tandem, dude. And they were the first ones I've seen as that pairing, as a father-daughter on a tour together.
Yeah. And,
they were doing Northern California and doing some hiking and mountain climbing along the way. But, just sharing their story, when I asked them to do it, they're like, oh, how can we be, how can our story encourage others? I'm like, well, you're the only father-daughter I've ever met on the road. Maybe you'll encourage another father-daughter or a mother-son or, whatever, just to go out there and experience something with their kids or, a significant other. And, when I explained it to them what their story could potentially bring, they were like, oh, dude, that sounds awesome. Yeah, we'll totally do it. So, I try to encourage everybody to share their stories, as I always did before. But now I'm trying to do it to, share your stories to encourage others.
Right.
And so that's definitely been it.
Have you noticed out there, since you're interviewing people now, have you noticed that there's more people out, like after the lockdown? Everyone was kind of, you couldn't get out and about. Are there a lot of people out there, man, riding, van life, hiking, things like that? Are you seeing more people?
Oh, for sure, dude. Last year when the pandemic really was kind of in full swing, when I got restarted, I only saw a handful of like cyclists, or I didn't even see any hikers. But then the van life was a little bit more popular because people were just trying to find ways to live out of their, I'm in my house, but I'm moving.
Right,
So
right.
they were out there, but definitely I've noticed, especially since like the vaccine's kind of been out and people are getting the mask mandates lifted and stuff like that. A lot more people are out. I see a lot more traveling happening between more vans, more RVs, more traffic in general. But I've definitely seen a lot more hikers and bikers. I've seen a few. I saw a sea kayaker and a guy on a horse traveling. So they're out there now, and it's definitely more. Part of me wants to believe it's because I'm on the West Coast as well. But there's definitely a lot more people out and moving.
Good point. Yeah, man.
When I was going through the Rockies, nobody wants to do that during the pandemic. Even though there were a lot of people out, nobody wants to do that.
Right. I don't think anyone wants to do that anyway.
Yeah,
there's only like a handful of crazies like you. Yeah. Well, hey, talking about the Rockies, man, and it just being tough. We did talk in the past that like the Rockies was tough, man. Those climbs with the trailer was tough. Having been out there, man, for 3 years, what do you think is the toughest part of cycling cross country now? Has your opinion changed on what the toughest part is?
No, for a while I thought it was the physical side of it. Like my hardest day, I always tell people, was Lover's Leap in Virginia, because it was just a physically tough day for me. But even on those physical tough days, something that is always a factor is the mental side of it. And for me, the mental side of it is a struggle. The roadblocks that I put myself into, and but training myself to kind of overcome those things really is important. So being out on the road, as much as it's a fear for me, is getting a little easier every day because I'm in it. It's like the person that's like afraid of heights. That I have a friend that does metal work and he builds skyscrapers, and I sit there and I'm like, man, how could you ever do that? That's scary. He's like, dude, the first week was hard. After that, it was easier because you just had to keep doing it. And that's anything in life. And I hope people understand that is if there's something that you struggle with, or that you have something that slows you down from being able to accomplish that next thing, you just got to keep doing it. Practice makes perfect. That's what they tell us, right? And it's real life, and something that I've struggled with since the beginning in various different ways is the mental side of it. Getting in my own head, telling me that I can't own a nonprofit, that I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not good enough to be a public speaker. I'm not smart enough to do a podcast, things like that. And the podcast, I told you that at the beginning. I was like, right. I don't know about this, man. I don't think I can do this. But it was one thing that you also had me doing was every morning I was going down to the studio, getting on the mic, just getting used to talking on the microphone. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, when I first started doing it, my voice didn't project. It didn't have that clarity to it. It didn't have any of that stuff. But I feel like I can speak more clear nowadays than I did before. And I feel like I can express myself better because of the repetition of getting on the microphone, being able to do that. And so for me, I think the cross country challenge is reminding myself that even on those days where I have the mental struggles or the mental blocks where I feel like I can't, just to continue to train myself to say that you can do it. It may take time, it may take work, but it's everything's possible.
Oh yeah.
Obviously within our physical limits.
I got to tell you, man, like I think I've told you this before, I envy you when it comes to not the amount of effort that you have to put in, but the amount of time that you have with yourself. That time to sort through things, to think through things. to ask yourself questions and be that, that honest agent, right? It's like, hey, that ain't right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, you're on the right track, man. Or, hey, don't fear that. Don't fear that. That's a challenge. Go ahead and break it down. Get after it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got that time, man. Because I think everybody kind of needs that, a little bit of that, time to themselves. So.
We do, and the big thing that I've learned from this is I told you it, I've told other people it as well, is we have to have faith in ourselves. Something I had to do to be able to accomplish this is I had to believe that I could do this.
Right.
At the same time, you have to believe in community, people. I wouldn't have been able to do this if I didn't believe that there were good people in the world still.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to have faith in people. You got to have faith in yourself, and you got to have faith in energy or a higher power, whatever that is for you. But you got to have something. You got to have faith. And even in those moments where you doubt that faith, you got to remind yourself that it'll all work out. And something I always talk about is I just try to go with the flow. And every once in a while, I get a branch that's in my way, and I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know if I. And then either somebody, you or David, my friend, or somebody else will be like, man, you always tell me just go with the flow. And it's that reminder I need sometimes to do that. And that'll all work out as long as I believe it'll work out. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I've learned to express myself and share these things with people, and that they know me well enough to remind me of the things that I share.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have great people in your life, man. Help keep you balanced. Hey, so what's the next? What are the next stages, man? You're in San Diego now.
So I'm in San Diego until the 28th, and then I'm leaving here to cross the hot desert. Man, I was looking at the temperatures for the next week going into it. The hottest day is the day I leave. It's going to be 110. And luckily, it looks like it's going down from there, but it doesn't get below 100. So it's going to be a hot ride through the desert, but I'm ultimately heading towards Phoenix with a couple stops in between. One of those stops that I'm looking forward to that I know that me and you have watched some videos on is Slab City.
That's going to be fun, man. You have to do an episode at Slab City, even if you can't, get over there to the internet cafe and get it, put up. Hold on to it, send it to me. Let's get some edit done on it. Let's get a good episode out.
For sure, because my route is within 20 miles of it. I feel like I reached out. They have warm showers. There's a kind of people there that do it. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of just like sneak in that way. And if not, I'm gonna probably just kind of show up and hopefully someone will let me camp on one of their slabs.
Very cool. Very cool.
It'll be really awesome. I'm excited for it, especially as I didn't realize I was going to be so close to it until the other day. So I'm excited for that. After I get through there, I'm going to get into Phoenix. Looking forward to visiting some friends, hopefully, if they're there. And then just trying to get some appointments that I got to get taken care of done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm hoping to head back to Flagstaff where I was hospitalized so I can try to see some of the medical staff. If it's possible, obviously with the restrictions, it's got to be difficult, but luckily I know where some of the offices are, and I'm hoping to also get my teeth cleaned because they have dental school there, and I took advantage of that before I came and stayed with you in Texas. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to get that redone as well, and then just thank the medical staff, the people that helped me be back on the road and show them my improvements. Dude,
that's gonna
be crazy because
that's gonna be exciting, man.
It is, because originally, from the severity, the damage that it looked, they told me it was going to take about a year to get back on a bicycle, and possibly up to 2 years before I could even finish my journey. And I'm blessed at the fact that I got on a bicycle after 4.5 months, and really just after 7 months got back on the road. So I want to show them that, what they did and what they were able to help me continue to do. So I'm really excited about that. And then from there, I'm going to be making it to the finish line, man. I'm going to go to Hoover Dam, which I've been to before when it had water. I've been hearing there's not much water right now, man.
Yeah, it's pretty low. Sad, man.
I'm kind of sad about that, but at least I'll get to go there on the bicycle this time, and it'll be cool to check it out. And then the finish line is Las Vegas, Nevada.
October 10th, right?
Yeah, October 10th will be the final day. I'm hoping to be there the week leading up to that because there's people I served with living there, so they're part of the journey. So I'm hoping to see them before I officially. And I'm asking anybody and everybody that can be there to come join me at the finish line for that. So it'll be great for anybody to join.
Very cool, man. So once you finish up, man, where's the road taking you, man? What's the plan?
So the road will initially take me to Colorado, to the Denver area. I am hoping to kind of figure out things for my own self and hopefully start some type of relationship if that works out. But yeah, ultimately I'm trying to get myself reestablished into what normal people call society. And, try to figure out housing and work and pay bills and, kind of get back into the routine of things that I've been out of, of that normalcy, I guess. My life that I've been doing is pretty normal for me, but it's not the typical norm. And so, yeah, I'm hoping a friend of mine is setting up a GoFundMe because, as everybody knows, I've been doing this whole journey with no savings. So it's really hard to go get an apartment or find, a van or something to live in to be able to get a job, to be able to actually afford an apartment or bills. So I'm hoping that people will be able to help me out with that, which hopefully will come out in September before I finish. And yeah, ultimately I'm trying to get a van to get started. And then I got a couple jobs kind of hopefully in the process to hopefully get set up, and then I'll get a place to live. And then ultimately from there, the goal is just to kind of set myself up and then buy property somewhere in the Rockies. I want to build a yurt like we were talking about earlier. I do want to do that. And then also build an earth ship or an earth home.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I want to document that, so that'll be really amazing. And that might happen long down the road, but it'll be documented. And in between all that, I really, really want to do the Continental Divide, which will be from Canada to Mexico. And so that's really the next major biking adventure that I have and hoping for. So, but yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Every day is a new day, and you never know what will be presented. So the biggest thing is stick around and stay tuned, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, man, it sounds like you're still going to have adventures going on, man. So the podcast, you're still going to rock it, shift gears, shut it down. What's the plan?
Man, I've actually had a few people ask me that question recently, and especially since people are like, "Oh, it's called Friends from the Road. What happens when you get off the road?" I like to say that Friends from the Road isn't just being on the road, on the pavement and all that, or on the trail. It's the road of life, and it's the journey that I'm on through my path, and it's the people I meet along the way. So I definitely want to keep the podcast going. It may not be fully as regular as it may be weekly right now, but it's still going to happen. I'm still going to meet amazing people that have stories to share and that have done amazing things. And so that'll continue on, and I hope to continue to grow that through, my daily life journey. So I'm looking forward to it. And with that, I'm excited to share other people's stuff. And, as I get more established, kind of set up like you have a more permanent studio, and hopefully not have to do the podcasts for the Continental Divide. I'm going to try to go as light as I can for that, but we will still be doing episodes. It just won't be with all the equipment. That's all.
Yeah, I got that, man. Well, hey, I'm going to let you close it out, man. But at first, before I do that, I want to thank you, man. Dan, I want to thank you for your heart, for your willingness and your strength, man, to carry the message of suicide awareness out into the world, right? introduce that to people, keep that in people's minds, talk to them, motivate them, influence them. Anything we can, man, to kind of spread this, spread some hope out there, right, to people that feel that there isn't any.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you for that, man. I want you to stay safe out there, okay?
You know, brother, it's one pedal at a time, and you know, I take it as that in my life. I try to remember that one at a time, whether that's one step, one breath, or one thought process. So, Chris, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to do an interview on me. And, you know, I appreciate all the work that you do as my editing guy and my producer. So thank you for that as well. For everybody else, you know, we all have a part to play. It's important to be, you know, part of your community, whether that's your immediate friends, your work, whatever community you're in. We all have a part to play. So, you know, we got to do more by willing to be listening and talking. So if you're out there and you're struggling, talk to somebody. If you're not struggling and you have a willing ear, be willing to listen to somebody. Check out start.opatmovement.com to get started with START. It's a great course that's online. And, you know, take it as it comes. Stick around for the next episode, and I appreciate you guys. Again, if you can, could join me October 10th, 2021, Las Vegas. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Copyright OPAT Movement 2021.